And scene.
Audio Jungle.
And we're back, baby.
Woo! Episode 2.
Welcome back to Experts About Nothing. First and foremost, we wanted to thank you all for all the feedback from the first episode. I think Priya and I are both aligned in that we had no idea about the engagement that we were going to get. And we're honestly so overwhelmed in the best way possible and so motivated by what everyone's been telling us. So we really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Honestly, the entire week, Deeksha and I were so emotional the moment we saw people listening to it or heard from anyone about the podcast. It's been kind of daunting to start this. So any encouragement means more than you know. So thank you guys so much.
Also, we have a new addition this week, which is our Instagram account.
That's right. We got socials. Please give us a follow if you're interested. We have a lot of creative juices flowing. Even we don't know what to expect. So it could be fun to,
energy.
I don't know what we're spilling on that yet, but we're going to be having some fun on there. So yeah, give us a follow.
I have a couple words to say as usual. Today I went shopping in Soho. It was a classic Sunday in New York.
Soho Sundays.
Soho Sundays. I think something that is insane are the return policies for some of these stores that we commit so much money to.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 stores in specific that I'm about to put on mild blast, even though 100% I am going to go back to these stores time and time again.
Yeah.
So first is Zara. And I've had multiple tough exchanges with them and tough returns. So This is the Zara return policy. If you buy something online and it is past 30 days, you cannot go into a store and return the item. You have to call customer service, get some crazy approval, and then you can only return it via the U.S. Postal Service.
I would like to add a piece to this return policy because I have also been scorned, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you go in and purchase an item in a physical Zara store and you lose the receipt to that item, you don't even get store credit.
That's insane.
It's actually bonkers. All you can do is exchange for the same exact item that you purchased in a different size. What if I hated the item, which was my scenario? I didn't like it. It wasn't cute. And now I'm stuck with a mustard yellow cropped button down that I have yet to wear.
Time to get creative,
I'll never wear it. Ugh. Anyway, continue.
No, but also this is extremely annoying because if it's a gift and you just don't have the receipt, then suck to suck. That item is yours, regardless if you hate it, love it. It's yours. It could even be
yours
the wrong
for
size.
life.
And you can't even, if it's the wrong size, you can't even exchange it. So that's one bone to pick. Second store, Aritzia. I bought the infamous Melina pants and I got them in this gorgeous mocha brown color.
It was a beautiful color.
Beautiful color.
A deep brown.
I ordered these the week of Black Friday and I got a grand 10% off, guys. 10% off on these $148 pants. And so I just bought them online. Mind you, the whole entire website was 10% off. If you buy an item online for any amount of discount, okay, your money is theirs. You can only get store credit on that item. And get this, only returns 14 days from the shipping date. So not only do you not get your money back, you cannot return this item past 14 days. And if you buy the item in store, that is now 10 days, not even 2 weeks, 10 days. Okay.
Wait, I have a question.
Sure.
When they say shipping date, is that the day they shipped the item to you or the day you received it?
That's a toughie. I don't know.
It better be the day you receive it, because if 5 days it takes to ship an item to you is included in that return policy, that's actually wild.
I can't tell you. That's why I got these pants. Mind you, I ordered them November. I got them mid-January. So it took 2 months to even get here.
We were all on the lookout for these pants.
I know.
Every day we're all Aritzia?
No,
where are the cocoa brown pants?
And I got my sister-in-law the exact same pants. She still hasn't even received hers. So maybe she'll get them in 4 months. I don't know.
Oh my
But
gosh.
anyway,
Supply chain.
So that's kind of my bone to pick this week on
That's
New
a
York
solid bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with, okay, it's not even a bone to pick. Basically, I've just been doing a lot of comfort over what I look like in my day-to-day style these days. Okay, so it's cold, everyone. It is cold, cold, cold. It's a like when it hits 30 degrees, it's a beach day. We're all like, let's go. Let's run all our errands.
Let's run outside.
Let's do our jogs, everyone, because it's 30 degrees. It's a grand total of 30 degrees, which means time to put your sunnies on and get outside. But it has been gray, grim, snowy, cold vibe. And I want to be that girl who walks around in a cute plaid coat and, her high-heeled boots. But literally the other day, I was catching a train and Deeksha stood at my room door for 7 whole minutes and just laughed at my appearance as I was scrambling around my room trying to leave to catch my train. And this is purely because I was wearing sweatpants, a sweatshirt, a jacket that makes me look like I am just swaddled out of delivery. Like I look like a wrapped newborn baby, and a hat, which I will say is a little large for my head.
No. Most of the laughter was from the hat with the ponytail. With the
honestly,
low ponytail. It is something else.
It was a low ponytail, but let me tell you, I don't have time for a grunge beanie look right now. I'm about to haul a suitcase down 8 flights of stairs. So it's okay if I look like a founding father with a beanie on my head because the hair can't be in the face at the current moment. And it was hat, glass, mask, everyone. So it was giving incognito. And fogged up glass. Fog. Incognito fog. And that's how I really be rolling out these days. I wish I was sorry, but I'm not because it's cold on these streets. I'm wearing 7 layers at all times, and I am wearing my hat and sometimes with a ponytail. Laugh if you want.
So I think we're ready to dive into our topic for today, which is finding a place that feels like home.
We thought this would be interesting to talk about because our entire childhood, we're kind of told where to be and what to be doing and what to anticipate next. And then, I don't know, usually for majority of people, post grad or like college, you just get all this freedom at once to choose where you want to live and, find a job, build your life on your own. And it can be super overwhelming to off the bat find a place that feels like home. And I think it's like a very specific feeling that everyone knows when you're in a place that feels like home, what that level of like comfort feels like. And it's not always the first place you move or like the place that you really always have envisioned yourself living that aligns with what feels like home. So I thought, we thought that it would be really interesting to talk about our experiences. Now we live in New York, so how we got here specifically, but I think broadly, like how we made New York feel like home and what we think in the future, any place that we could go to, like what we value in our environments that make it feel like home.
Yeah, and we're going to start by talking about our stories.
Yes. How do we get to New York? So, Deeksha, how did you get to New York?
So, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, my entire upbringing, a majority of it at least. So I always kind of thought, regardless of where I went to school, that I would end up back in Chicago with my full-time job. I did apply to other jobs my senior year of college, but I ended up accepting my junior year internship offer, which everyone take a guess where this internship was.
Everyone, it's multiple choice. I'm not going to give you any options.
So anyway, the answer is Cincinnati, Ohio.
That's right.
And no, I was not thrilled that was the locale I was going to be at. But I have to say, that internship my junior year was one of the best summers of my life. And I genuinely had so many amazing memories. And it was all due to my intern class. It was a group of 15 people, super diverse, but we all got along so well. And it would literally just be like, so what are we doing this weekend? And that was within like 2 weeks of starting the internship. I'm still so close to so many of those intern friends to this day. That was really what kind of sealed the deal for me in terms of accepting this internship offer. But then as senior year progressed, I realized that most of my friends were actually not going to be returning full time. Some of them are younger, some of them ended up accepting offers elsewhere. So I was like, oh, damn, it might just be me. And then
me, myself, and I.
Catch me in Cincinnati, Ohio, first year out of college. It was, to say the least, a tough year in my life. I want to say up top, I made some amazing friends there and built some really great connections. That was the sole reason I was pulled through this year. These friends got me out of the house. They invited me to everything and were literally so warm and welcoming from the day I met them. And I'm forever grateful for them. And I'm still close to a lot of those people as well. But it was still a tough year for me for a couple reasons. First, I didn't have a car. And all the small things that, are inconveniences in New York as well were extremely inconvenient in Ohio. I literally would have to cross state lines to get groceries.
Kroger in Kentucky.
Yes.
Which I feel like is a crucial detail.
Yes. That was such a pain in the butt. Now, I do want to shout out, there is a really, really nice Kroger downtown that was built since, but that
shout out to Kroger. Wasn't there when Deeksha was around.
I'm sure that greatly improved the quality of many, many people's lives. That wasn't my reality at the time. I also couldn't experiment with any classes or like trying out different studios or just anything like that. So I was kind of just trapped in my downtown Cincinnati apartment. Loved my apartment. That was all cool. The rent was all great. But ultimately, I felt really lonely there just because for anyone that knows me in real life, you would know I'm like extremely close to my family, like my parents, my brother, as well as my friends. And my friends from college, all of them ended up staying on the East Coast, majority of them being in Northern Virginia, DC, and then the remaining, like you, Ashi, all you guys moved to New York. I was basically the only one in the Midwest. I would actually be traveling every 2 to 3 weeks, either home to Virginia or to see any of my friends anywhere else. And to the point where I would literally tell all of my friends to not visit me in Ohio because
I know. I want it on the record that I tried. Like I literally was like, I will come. Let me book a flight. And she said no.
Because at least I could get out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I vividly remember the last 2-3 times I went to Virginia, I would be crying every single time at the airport. And my parents were so shocked because it's very unlike me to like cry like that every time I left. They started getting concerned and I would just be so sad that I was going back somewhere that made me feel so isolated. One of the last times I left, my parents were just like, you don't need to do this anymore. And if you really want to leave, let's make a plan to get you out of there. And I felt like
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, truly shout out to them because that was what I needed to hear at the time to actually start thinking about how I was going to leave. Mind you, I still had about 6 more months until I even hit 1 year. So, and I really wanted to, so I didn't lose my signing bonus, all the logistics. Then I was ranting to Priya actually one day on FaceTime in like April 2019. And Ashi, our roommate right now, who I didn't know very well back then, she was just eavesdropping on the conversation. And thank God she did that because she asked me if I wanted a referral. And I was like, yes, but I'm not ready to jump into the application process yet. I still need a few more months before I'm closer to my 1 year mark and I can actually make moves on leaving. So I'll let you know. Fast forward 2-3 weeks later, I get a message on LinkedIn saying, hey, Ashrita referred you to X position. Let me know if you want to chat. And simply, I was like, why would she possibly do that when I'm not ready to jump into this? But that was actually the best thing that had happened to me.
No, she had her own agenda.
She did. And thank God she had that agenda because I ended up being like, okay, it's not like a guarantee for a job. I'm just going to go through the interview process, see what happens. And I put my actual soul into this interview process. I did, because it was my one life.
She did. And there are multiple testimonials to attest to this.
I ended up getting this job offer. God bless.
Yes.
It was honestly the most shocking thing, even though I did put a lot of time and effort in it. The fact that I actually had a way out was the biggest relief to me. And I actually ended up taking a pay cut with this job. And this was the very first and only job I applied to. But I have absolutely no regrets doing that, because it's exactly what I needed to do at the time. And that's kind of how I ended up here.
Well, my story of getting here is different. I was always kind of dreaming of living in New York, and I was to the point of being like pretty annoying about it, probably.
No one was in love with the city as much as Priya.
I know.
No one.
Okay. I have like an embarrassing tale. Every single year in college, we talked about my skills in art in the last podcast, or more so my lack thereof skills. And every single year in college, I would like want to have this wall art of like a New York City skyline canvas. And honestly, they progressively got worse each year, because every summer I would try to make a cute little canvas and it would not turn out well. And then finally, one of our very close friends made me a beautiful New York skyline canvas, and she was like, just stop doing this yourself. Anyway, that's all to say. I've been dreaming of New York since I was probably 10 years old, loved the city, always would come on trips with my parents to visit and all these crazy things. But I never really thought I would end up living here. It seemed very out of reach and unattainable. And then got through my first year of college, and very easily one of the worst years of my life. Retweet. I think a lot of people might resonate, but I was beaten down by this first year of college. It was just accumulation of not being prepared for like the academic rigor of what I was stepping into, not having clarity of what I wanted to do, probably putting my energy in the wrong things my first year. And so I left feeling very unsure of myself. That's like probably the biggest feeling I can remember of that time. I just didn't feel secure in anything, like what I wanted to do, who I was. And that can be very demoralizing for anyone at any age, but especially during that age, it's a tough feeling to continuously be having. And I think it was at the point where I just wanted any sign to give me like confidence. I was just looking to anything to lift me up at that point in time. And then my dad came in with some Indian dad energy.
Indian uncle energy.
Yes.
Shout out.
Which we all really need to learn to channel, because there's something special about that energy, let me tell you. But my dad had a connection through work for an internship in New York. And so he really finessed and got me this interview. It just all happened so fast, so unexpectedly, like at the end of the school year.
We were literally studying for our last finals, and then we got this call. I was there, folks. I was there. It was a beautiful moment.
I know. I was like, good thing I'm going to fail all these finals. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, the focus was gone after that.
The
for
focus
you and I, both.
was maybe never there, but it was definitely gone after. And yeah, so I ended up having this amazing opportunity to stay in New York for a summer, my first year out of college. I knew absolutely no one there. I ended up like living with two random people in like, student housing and all this crazy stuff. I was scared to take the subway, so I literally walked around the city the entire summer. And it ended up being one of my fondest memories of a summer ever. And I was literally alone like the whole time. I did not even make friends while I was there, which is maybe questionable. But the fact that I was like living in the city that I've always wanted to be in, it was so infectious to like be walking on the streets and seeing everyone going to work, getting to like walk to all these places that I've dreamt of visiting, even though I'd visited them before. Getting to actually spend a lot of time there.
And doing those things alone is a completely different experience.
It was a completely different experience. And for some reason, I don't remember really feeling lonely, which is weird, because I am a people, like I do like having people around. But at that point, I think it was just pure excitement that was carrying me through that whole summer. And I left kind of feeling sad because, damn, I had this great experience and maybe I'm never going to experience it again. And that's genuinely what I believed at the end of that summer. I didn't go back for the rest of, the internships that I had throughout college. I interned in different places. And then year of college, it was like recruitment time. I had a job offer from the company I interned at the previous summer, but not in New York. It was in a different location. And I kind of was trying to push them to have the offer be transferred to New York. They were like, no, we don't do that. So you need to either just accept this job offer or reject it, and we'll try to like get you into the interview process for New York, but you're going to have to reject your job offer. At that point, I didn't have any other job offers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, do I do this? It seemed very scary. And I am usually a pretty risk averse person, but at that,
yeah, she is.
I am. But at that time, I was just like, you know what? I need to do this because I want to be in New York, and I know that deep down. So I rejected the job offer, miraculously got the job in New York, which was amazing.
Were also there for.
Yes. Okay. That is one of the best memories of my life. I had my job interview on my birthday. So all my friends came to New York for my 21st birthday. So they were all there when I got the call later that day that I got the job.
So she got the call the same day she interviewed, which was also her
my full 21st birthday. Like, that's actually the craziest thing and top memories of my life.
Now we're here.
We are here.
So now that we've been here, we've definitely learned a thing or two about living here.
Yeah, like New York is really, I don't know, there's a lot, I feel like we already had a lot of like assumptions before we moved here just from the general aesthetic of living in New York. Like, you know, you're going to have some day-to-day struggles. You don't have a car. You have to subway everywhere. You need to haul your grocery like 2 miles. You don't have your laundry in building. Like, we knew all of that, but now I think we've like learned a thing or two from just living the day-to-day here.
On that, I've definitely learned a thing or two about the MTA.
Like, she's like the only fan of the MTA.
I am.
The entire city of New York is like rallying together against the MTA, and Deeksha's the only one on the other side.
I'm like, this is the greatest thing of all time. But I want to say it's not necessarily because of the subway. It's because of the bus system. And mind you, the bus system,
even bigger of a hot take, let me tell you.
That is a hot
It's take. A hot on hot take.
Hear me out. The bus has burned me many, 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 many times. But there have been times where I've had bus miracles, right? And the bus just kind of shows up right when I walk to the bus stop. Like, I'm at the bus stop.
She shows up when you need her,
Magic school bus vibes, you know? But there's other times when I'm like waiting for the bus for actually 20 minutes, 30 minutes, says the next bus is going to be here on Google Maps, nowhere in sight. And then I end up having to walk like 1.5 miles home. Both of those situations are vastly different emotions that come out of me.
Yeah, a lot of high highs and low lows.
Exactly. But the last 2 weeks, I really think I cracked the code on how to defeat the bus system. Okay. And this is the trick. At every bus stop, there is a sign that tells you a little phone number to text and the bus stop code for said bus stop. So if you note down every bus stop that you frequent and text this code, or you even take one singular step outside your apartment, basically what this like text message tells you is like the actual live schedule of every bus that's about to come to this bus stop. It is more accurate than Google Maps by far. This will just lets you plan how long you actually need to get somewhere. And this has changed my life. So yeah, I think genuinely everyone needs to utilize the system because I have done the hard work for you. You're welcome.
That is wild. And okay, honestly, I need people to reply. Let me know if you knew that because I did not know that. And that's actually crazy. And I just have this vision of Deeksha with a million bus maps, like circling things like a mad woman and then cracking the bus code. And then storing them all on her phone. I mean, that's amazing. I will be using that. Also, there's a stereotype of New Yorkers being a little curt, little mean. Okay. And I always refuted this. Okay. I was a very like avid, I don't know, anti-stereotype. Like, I was like, no, everyone here is nice.
I know. Like, people have said that to me too, especially when I was about to move and like I knew where I was going to go. They're like, don't be like one of the New Yorkers.
Yeah, they're like, you're going to become a classic New Yorker. I'm like, okay, they're fine. They're just like savvy people, because to live in the city, you need to be cut a little different. Especially if you're raised in the city, you need to be like,
you're built diff.
You're actually genuinely built different when you're from New York. And I believe that and I stand by that. But I will say, the one experience that I had where I was like, maybe New Yorkers are mean and cold, because like I have never been so shocked in my life.
Experience.
So your girl was at the gym, okay, one morning. It was like 7 a.m. and I was feeling on top of the world. It was like one of those days when you're like, I actually made it to the gym at 7 a.m. and it was before work. So yeah, I felt like I was actually better than everyone I knew. I was like, good for me. And then I was running on the treadmill. And at that time, she didn't discover outdoor running yet. So she was on the treadmill. I'm just going.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know this story. Like Deeksha was like, I don't know what the story. I was like, yes, you do.
This is my favorite story.
No, this was a traumatizing story. So I'm just running on the treadmill, minding my own business, listening to my Bolly Bops playlist. Follow me on Spotify. Anyway, I'm doing what I do. And I take one brief misstep on this treadmill. And when I say it was the end, like it was actually the end, I flew. I was flying. I caught air for seconds. It felt like minutes even. I was like in the air. And when you like trip and fall and you're just like, oh, I just like stumbled off the treadmill. No, like I'm in the air. And then I hit a wall, bro. I can't even talk about this. I like flew and then I smacked into like a full-on wall. Oh my God. And then I like peel off this wall. Like I'm literally like Tom in Tom and Jerry, like full cartoon mode, peel off the wall, wither to the ground, because like what do you do in that moment?
In a state of shock.
In a state of pure shock that I didn't know what to do. Not a single person on this entire gym floor came, did not even come to like check on me, even like flinched or like looked at me. Like they were just all like, there were so many treadmills and there were a lot of people, like there was a sizable amount of people there. They're all just running.
When they say no one gives a flying fuck
no
what you're doing at the gym, it's true.
I was so shocked. Like, I mean, the shock of falling like that is really crazy. And then I was just more shocked by like the social, like I don't know if they thought, she's been embarrassed enough. Let's just let her, let's pretend like, let's let her pretend she didn't do that. Yeah. But I'm like, or you could have just been like, girl, are you okay? Like,
do you need a hand?
Like, do you need one hand? And, I did in that moment. I needed a singular hand. That's why I was like, maybe New Yorkers are built different in the wrong way. Because what's going on? Like, why can't you just be like, let me help you out for a second? But I will say that's my only cold New Yorker experience. For the most part, they've been pretty chill.
Everyone's really nice, generally.
Yeah, generally they're like decently nice. And you have a couple experiences like that where you're like, wow, ouch. Okay, so I think what's kind of interesting is you were fully driven by the people when you decided to like pick up and come to New York. Like that was your main priority. And when I got to New York, I was really only driven by the location at that point in time. I really wasn't thinking about anything else. And now that I have that perspective of getting to live in the place that I really want to be in with the people, it has just added such a dimension to the city. And now is a huge like motivating factor for me when I'm choosing where I want to live and what feels like home to me. It really is like people is at the top of the list. And I don't think I would have had that clarity if I didn't have the experience of having my like closest friends live in this city. Yeah.
Tears.
Tears.
In the same regard, I think that I came to New York and thought I was just there for like the people, but then I actually ended up falling in love with the environment. And I just saw how much the environment had an effect on my mood. I think I am such go energy that if I'm not around people that are kind of doing the same thing and just in an environment where doing something small, such as just like getting a coffee or seeing others getting after their day, that changes my energy. And New York is that. But I do think there's other places that are also like that. And
it's a vibe. Like, it's a vibe that you can find, I feel like, in a lot of different cities. And of course, New York is like hustle and bustle, and like that's kind of like the vibe of it.
It's known for that.
Yeah.
But I do think there are other places, like you said, that can have that similar energy. And I think obviously people is always going to be my number one thing, but having an environment that also pushes me a little bit to be better and to just get after my day is key to me.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. Like, going through this pandemic has like completely shifted what I now look for in a place and what I really like. When I think about my future, like, I think I have a completely different set of priorities now than I did pre-pandemic. Like, I really thought I was going to be a New York lifer. Like, that's kind of the path that I saw for myself, because I do love the city more than any place on the planet.
And maybe you still will.
Yeah, like, I still could, but I don't know. Like, getting to be near my parents was really eye-opening for me when I was living at home for that long. And like, getting to go on walks and having a little more space, like, those are things that we didn't really experience since we were in like high school. And now I'm like, yeah, I kind of do maybe want some of those things. Like, maybe I want to experience some of those things. And I think a huge thing is the phase of your life.
Yes,
it really matters.
Season, baby.
I know. 20, your 20s are selfish season, and that is just kind of the vibe. And like, I think that's what, and it should be like, you should be just like looking after what you want first and really experiencing what you can, because for a majority of us, you really are only paying attention to yourself at that point in time. Like, you don't have liabilities yet.
And as we want to save more and then have more space, maybe have families down the line, our priorities are definitely going to change, and our environment's going to have to change with that. And there's going to be like different considerations regardless, whatever phase in life we are. But I think right now we definitely have the most flexibility to just do what we feel is good for us. So
yeah. And so like, another thing is climate, right? Like, both of us, we've both just been raised in like cold places. And so we don't even know what it's like to not experience frigid weather for like 5 months out of the year. And that could be something we would love to experience. Like, I don't know. Like, I think now I know that I'm not opposed to anything, and I want to just be like, I don't want to have some predetermined notion of like what my life needs to be, because then you're just going to close a lot of doors that maybe you're like meant to be open. You know?
And like, who knows, like, maybe you'd love it more, you just like, I think there's so many things we haven't experienced yet, and so many places we haven't seen, that we might fall in love with a different place. And obviously, like, New York will be a home for us, like Virginia will be a home for us. There's so many places that can count as homes for us, but that'll change over time. And as we like grow into ourselves, we're going to have different places we want to explore.
Yeah, exactly. And ultimately, I think each of these experiences, living in different places, living with different sets of people, like all of those different types of things add to what a home means to you, adds to the picture of what that feeling is. Like, at the end of the day, it's a feeling, and it doesn't need to be because of a house. It's just something that you know in your heart where you feel the most comfortable and the most yourself. And I don't think it's a bad thing to continue chasing that for you, because I mean, you've even had the experience of like being in a place that didn't give you that feeling, and it can be debilitating,
It is. And I think after having that experience, I'm just so much more aware of what I know I don't like. And that feeling is also important, I think, to feel at some point, so oh my God, like what I'm in right now is amazing. And that's kind of what I want to feel like every day when I wake up somewhere.
And exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully this kind of gave you guys some context of our personal selves, or some funny stories, but also just like, when you think of home, don't be afraid to ask the questions and continue to explore what feels right for you, because at the end of the day, you only live once.
YOLO, baby.
YOLO. And on that note, on the note of YOLO.
On the note of YOLO, let's talk about our favorites.
Okay. My favorite thing of the week, and this is a lie because it's not of the week. It's probably of
Her
the
whole
year, life maybe. Guys, okay, I need to preface this. I am not a doctor and I am not licensed to give any medical advice. Okay, so nobody do this based off of my sole recommendation. Do your own research. But for those of you in need of an immunity boost and who maybe have a scratchy throat in the mornings, I highly recommend Propolis Raw Honey Throat Spray.
Anyone
And
that
let me
wakes
tell
up
you,
thinking they have a COVID scare every single morning, this is for you. As this
yes,
is literally Priya every morning.
that's me every morning. I wake up and I'm like, this is it. It's happening. It's happening. And then I spray this beautiful spray down my throat and I'm like, no, it's not. I'm good. But this spray is amazing. And let me tell you, there's a hack. So I originally found out about this because there's this brand called Beekeepers that made I think the most popular throat spray. And basically you just spray it 2 times in the back of your throat. You can do it morning and night. And it kind of just gives you this nice little coating in your throat that soothes it. And apparently bee propolis or whatever is a good natural immunity booster too. But there is also a hack because our good old guy, Trader Joe, has a dupe, people, and it is cheaper. And Trader Joe said, let me capitalize on that propolis market as he does with every market, honestly, under the sun. There will be a dupe at Trader Joe's. So I've been using the Trader Joe's one right now, and gotta say, it's pretty lit, pretty similar to the Beekeepers original. So I highly recommend, if you want an immunity boost or have a little tickle in your throat, still get COVID tested, but also you can spray this down your throat. Yeah.
So mine is a little bit more emo. For some reason, this week, I'm just drawn to going home. And
homesick vibes.
And it's not for any reason. I still love every moment I'm here. But I think it's just January has felt like the longest month on the planet.
It really has.
I don't know.
It's actually insane. Yeah.
So yeah, January has felt like the longest month ever. And I just have this urge to just vibe at home in my home bed. And I think midweek, I was like, wait, I already had plans, mind you, to come home on Thursday night. But then I would just have Friday and Saturday, and then I'd be on my way back on Sunday, and it'd just kind of be a chaotic time home. And I just had this urge to push up my ticket, and I did. And now I'm going home tomorrow, so Wednesday night, and I am so excited. I don't know why. After I moved my ticket, I was so relieved that I moved it, and just one extra day at home, and I couldn't be more excited. So that's
that's a great favorite. We all need to come home from time to time.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. See you next week. Thanks, guys.
Woo!
Bye.
See you guys. Bye.